Hello all, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, the Irish Retail Investor. Okay, so today's video is probably the most important video I could make. I'm trying to inspire people to do tax returns. Most people are afraid to even learn a little bit about their tax. They are afraid, thinking, Jesus, you might owe them something. Now that is correct. It is possible that you have underpaid in tax and that you owe revenue. But that can't let you live in fear of doing a tax return. PAYE workers, people I know, when I tell them or ask them, did you do your tax return? They say, I'm not self-employed. I don't do tax returns. And I'm trying to make them understand that when you're a PAYE worker, you should be doing a tax return. Now, in my experience, you see about health expenses and flat rate expenses and rent relief. But in my experience, people get refunds because of wrong tax credits, emergency tax job changes, incorrect PRSI and USC deductions. This is a call to action for people to learn just enough to get onto the revenue website, get onto your profile and file a tax return. Whatever age you are, even if you're retiring this year, 65 or 67 or whatever it might be, you can still go back 4 years, right? So there's no excuses for not learning it, okay? Now, if you've never done it and you're just starting out, right, you can go back 4 years, but just concentrate on 1 year. Just say, right, I'm going to do my tax return for 2024. Now, just so you know, I only learned how to do them back in about 2021, and I could go back 4 years, and I was delighted I did. It was definitely beneficial to me that I went back then 4 years and claimed tax monies back. Just learned enough. And now I do them every year. And it's handy. It is handy. Now there's no point in me making a video and showing you every click of the mouse you need to do to learn how to do a tax return. The number one thing is you're gonna have to grab the bull by the horns and say, right, I'm gonna do this. And accept that it's possible you might have underpaid in tax and owe them something. But that's not a big enough reason. That is not a big enough reason to bury your head in the sand and not learn about it. Okay? That slide there, that was the first time I've ever seen this. That was revenue came out, I can't remember, I think I've seen it on my LinkedIn or something. They came out and they said, look, we literally have 1.2 billion euros of unclaimed tax monies that basically the working man and woman is not claiming. They actually came out this year and said that. It was incredible, I couldn't believe it. Tax returns are not just for the self-employed. PAYE workers, electricians, Tesco workers, people on sites, delivery drivers. If you're in a job paying tax, getting a proper pay slip and you're paying your tax, you can do a tax return. And like I said in previous slides there, the reason people get money back is because of miscalculations in tax, whether the company made a mistake or revenue made a mistake. And you have to accept that it's possible you have underpaid, but you can't bury your head in the sand, okay? Don't fear the tax man. Jesus, when I got that few bob back, right, when I started doing them in 2021 for the previous 4 years, I was thinking, Jesus, I didn't do them like years previous to that. And I was sick, but you couldn't go back. So you just live and learn. Definitely, PAYE workers should be filing a tax return. Not just for the self-employed. Tax revenue themselves, the revenue commissioners of Ireland are telling you, they put it out there. Look we have over €1 billion here in unclaimed money. Now, separately assessed or jointly assessed, I would be damn sure, right, that there's married people in the country with a kid, right, that can't tell if they're separately assessed or jointly assessed. And it's very easy to figure that out. But it's a call to action. You're going to have to take the bull by the horns and just learn a little bit. Just learn enough to learn what that is. very basically, John and Mary, joint assessment explained, right? Now, this is the very basic thing. Mary's not working. So if you're in a family there, right, married now, I think married or a civil partnership, I think, right? But definitely married, a civil partnership as well. Like, and it could be the other way around, right? Mary can give John that tax credit. The personal tax credit can be swapped over between spouse. And just to keep the math simple, right? Everybody gets a personal tax credit and an employee tax credit, right? Now, you can't swap over your employee tax credit, but you can share your personal tax credit. And to make the maths easy, just say it was $2,000. Mary can give John the $2,000 tax credit, and that means John is getting, he's limiting his exposure to tax. He is going to end up paying less tax if Mary gives him her personal tax credit. Now we'll go into that a little bit more in a minute. This one is huge, right? Home carer tax credit. Now, the name is a little bit misleading on this because you think home carer, right? And you're probably thinking, well, I don't care for anybody, right? But look at that down there. Who counts as a dependent, right? A child under 18. So, if you're married and you're jointly assessed and you have a kid, and I bet you there's thousands of families up and down the country that don't know this, right? You're married, jointly assessed, and you have a kid, right? You can claim the home carer tax credit, and I think it's €1,800. And just to put that in simple terms, right? If you have a tax credit of €1,800, right? Just call it $2,000. If you earn 40 grand in a year, okay? You get taxed on that 40 grand in a year. If you earn 40 grand in a year and you have a tax credit of 1,800, you no longer pay tax on 40 grand. You pay tax on 38,200. And that's the most simplest, basic. That's tax credits in its simplicity. You're just limiting your exposure to tax. And the home care tax credit, if you're married and you have a kid and you're not claiming that credit, it's time to act. It's time to get in and learn how to operate, how to use that platform, the revenue platform. Just concentrate on one tax year, last year, 2024, and then you can work on your other ones. But just learn how to do it. And just as a starter to that, when you do get in on the platform, right, I'm pretty sure the first step is create a detailed, well, you'll have to go into the year 2024, but create a detailed employment summary, I think it's called, right? Now, don't be afraid to flick in and have a look and get used to the platform. It's the only way. It's on you. You have to learn it, right? Now, there is good videos out there showing you how to do it click for click on the mouse. But what I'm trying to do is inspire you. I am trying to get you to take the bull by the horns and say, right, I'm going to suss out if we're separately assessed or jointly assessed. I'm going to suss out what tax credits apply to me because the home care one is a huge one. And can I get Mary's personal tax credit, right? Take the bull by the horns and learn this. It's not much. You can learn it, right? Home care. Now, this one, the revenue, I thought I'd bang this one in because if you're really no good on the computers, right? If for whatever reason, if it's alien to you, you have a learning disability or whatever, that's fine. I respect that, right? But don't let that stop you. Again, it's not the revenue office there in Dublin, right? It used to be beside Burger King there, as far as I remember, years ago on O'Connell Street, right? I had a quick Google, and I don't think you can like go in anymore and take a ticket. I think you have to go online and create an inquiry and make an appointment that way. But don't let that stop you. Ring them up. Anytime I contacted revenue over the years, and it wasn't much like, but you're always very helpful, you know. You get people on the phone that be trying to help you. They're explaining different things to me and stuff. And it was actually, when I rang up, it was a lady that I got through to. She made me aware of the home care tax credit, and I couldn't believe it. So if you, for whatever reason, struggle on the computer or for whatever reason, you got to make it your business to contact revenue and get an appointment. Get in contact and get an appointment. Yeah, so it is possible. You can make contact with revenue and you can actually see them face to face and talk to them. Okay. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, you see this a lot about medical expenses, and you can get 20% tax relief on stuff, and it's great. Definitely use it if you have medical expenses, and you can input this information when you're doing the tax return for a particular year. Okay. Flat rate expenses, yeah. It's not much of a tax credit or a tax relief. It's but it's something. It's better than nothing. Rent tax credit, definitely another one, right? But with those three, like I was saying at the start, in my experience, it's the monies I got back was more to do with miscalculations from the companies and revenues, and that was one of the main reasons that I got tax monies back. And this stuff did help. But like I say, it was miscalculations that was the main reason I got tax monies back. This one, Irish people wake the fuck up, right? Because I know, I was contemplating putting this slide in. It's because I just want to inspire somebody out there that needs to learn a little bit about this to file that tax return. If you're 25 years of age, like you've another 45 years and you're working, 40 or so years, and if you're 30, you've another 30 odd years, and you can't just like not learn this stuff and go another 30 years without knowing how to do your tax return. You have to learn how to do it. You can't bury your head in the sand. And I'm really targeting, like, especially like, you know, couples like with a kid that could really do with that money. Like they're trying to save money in Tesco's on their shopping, because every time you go near the place it's at least 50 quid. You can't even look at Tesco without spending 50 quid. I'm trying to inspire people, you know, that are not putting on the clothes dryer because it costs too much at home for a bit of sun so they can get the bleeding clothes out, like. But if they learned enough about separately assessed, jointly assessed, and just learned enough about tax credits and how you can take advantage of using the wife's personal tax credit if she's not working, or if she's earning less than the threshold, seven odd grand or whatever it is. It's in one of the slides there. And it's handy enough. And once you do that first one for the first year, right? Once you have that sussed, you do one, then you're confident then on the platform. And like I say, don't be afraid to flick in and out of stuff and into different years and documents and what's this and what's that. Just flick in and out of stuff. And if you don't understand it, have a Google of it. But you can do it. You need to take the bull by the horns. You have years of work ahead yet. Don't let fear stop you from understanding your taxes. So, I have a little YouTube channel. I'm trying to just, especially with this tax thing, because it was only the other day there, like, I said it to me mate, I says, did you do your tax return? He goes, I'm not self-employed. And I was like, and like you say, mate, he's maybe a little bit older, like. And I was trying to explain to him, you know. But it's funny, some people just don't have much interest in it, but when you're in a house and every bleeding euro counts, and the cost of living these days, if you can get even 50 quid back from revenue, 100 quid back, it'll be well worth your while. This is a little disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. I am not a tax accountant. I'm not a tax advisor. But I do know how to do a tax return, and I do understand enough to know what tax credits apply to me, tax release apply to me, and the benefits of being jointly assessed, and the home carers tax credit. If you have a kid under the age of 18 years of age, and like it doesn't matter if you have 2 or 3 kids, you can only claim it once. You know what I mean? Yeah, I do. I just once, because it was like I say, it was only 2021 that I learned how to actually do it, and I actually couldn't believe it, and I was sick that I could only go back to whatever it was, 2017. Rent tax credit, yeah, like I say, I'm kind of repeating myself now. But I hope someone has learned, I hope I have inspired someone to get onto this and get onto the revenue platform and get a profile set up. And because I know people that have never put in a tax return, working all their life and have never done it. So please, look, if you have any questions, if you want to fire off a question to me, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to drop them down into the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. And don't be afraid to learn about your taxes. They're not just for self-employed people, these tax returns. PAYE workers should be doing them. It's on you to learn about what tax credits and what tax reliefs apply to you. And don't be living in fear about doing tax returns. This thinking of, Jays, you might owe them something. You might owe them something, but you'll pay them back. If you owe them, you owe them. But more than likely, they might owe you. Thanks for watching. Sound.